Yeah, Frank, absolute blockbuster quarter. Let me dig into those numbers and try to unpack really what was behind them. And the headline figures, revenue doubled year on year to 13.5 billion US dollars, higher than Nvidia's own forecast and the market as well. EPS, $2.70 a share. 429% year-on-year rise, Frank. And there are no signs of slowing. The company forecasting for the September quarter revenue of $16 billion, blowing away estimates and representing, if met, an 170% year-on-year rise. Now, there's a few things driving this, and it's mainly that data center business. Nvidia's graphics processing units, which are used inside these data centers to train these huge AI workloads, the likes that underpin applications like ChatGPT. The data center business saw record revenue of 10.3 billion US dollars as well. And there's this sweet spot Nvidia is sitting in right now. One, the demand for its AI-related chips, and the second, the fact there's a bit of supply tightness as well, which is giving Nvidia massive pricing power on top of that as well, commanding a margin of over 70% in the quarter. Even gaming business, which used to be Nvidia's core business, remains strong in the quarter, seeing growth despite some of the macroeconomic headwinds and concerns. If you were to try to look for a bad spot, it'd be in its very small automotive business, which saw a sequential decline of 15% in revenues. But overall, Frank, very few cracks in the armor for Nvidia as it rides this AI wave of demand for its chips, and many seeing it really as the only game in town right now for these kind of chips, really underpinning a lot of these huge AI applications.
I mean, Arjun, really just a blowout report. So a few questions. Did we hear anything about China risk for the company, especially for its data center business? Obviously, some U.S. restrictions possibly coming up.
Yeah, I mean, the China story really is an overhang over the broader chip sector, but certainly for Nvidia as well. Last year, of course, the U.S. restricted some of its key AI chips from being shipped over to China. There are reports that there may be further restrictions as well. Nvidia made some sort of slightly lower-powered, less advanced chips to ship to China that complied with those, and so there are reports that even those now could come under new restrictions. The company's saying that it doesn't think it will be hurt, really, by further restrictions at this point, but it did warn that over the long term that restrictions on sales of chips to China could result in a permanent loss of opportunity for U.S. chip makers in what is seen as quite a critical market. So it was a big warning from Nvidia there that actually the U.S. chip makers, semiconductor industry, could lose some competitiveness in the China market over the long term, Frank.
All right, so generally it's considered that Nvidia has a pretty broad moat when it comes to these AI-powered chips. Is there competition? Could they possibly lose that advantage?
Well, look, there's a lot of rivals now talking about launching similar chips this year. AMD really the front runner there, eyeing up a Q4 launch for what is seen as a rival chip to Nvidia. But so that is something that clearly the company's watching as well, and many of its other rivals also talking about this. But right now, Nvidia's built this pretty strong moat. It's locked in companies like Microsoft and Amazon, these big cloud giants, into the Nvidia ecosystem, as it were, by having this first mover advantage. And that's really where it's key. And on top of that, one of the things you've seen is Nvidia talking about upcoming product launches and very new products. One of those is the L40, which is effectively a set of a data center rack with its chips inside that can be put into these huge data centers run by the likes of Amazon and Microsoft. So further expanding its product portfolio, further expanding its moat, and I think for at least in the near time, going to be very hard for some of its rivals to catch up.